Gang, strap in. We've got an amazing show, a great night of entertainment for you as well with our special guest, Ryan Silverman. He starred in Sideshow on Broadway, for which he received a Drama Desk nomination for Best Actor. Other Broadway credits include star turns as Billy Finn in Chicago and Raoul in The Phantom of the Opera. Ryan received Drama Desk and Drama League nominations for his performance as Giorgio in CSC's production of Passion. He has appeared at the Kennedy Center as well as Sir Lancelot alongside Brian Stokes Mitchell in Camelot and Terry Connor in Sideshow. Internationally, Ryan has starred in the Theatre du Chalet's acclaimed production of Passion opposite Nathalie Dessay and as Tony in the Olivier-nominated 2008 West End production of West Side Story. And you remember who we had on the show a couple of weeks ago? George Chakiris was a guest on the show. If you didn't see that episode, he was in the movie. Ryan also recently starred in the concert version of West Side Story with the Philadelphia Orchestra and a stage concert version of the Golden Apple, the City Center Encores. Other credits include Cry, Baby on Broadway, Finian's Rainbow, Irish Repertory Theater, The Most Happy Fella at the New York City Opera. He recently made his debut at Paper Mill, starring in Ken Ludwig's play, A Comedy of Tenors. And he starred as Sky in the first national tour of Mamma Mia and Jose in the world premiere of the new musical, Carmen at La Jolla Playhouse. And Ryan also played the role of Rapunzel's prince in Into the Woods and so much more. We're so excited to have him here. That is just the short list, folks. We're going to welcome him to the show live and direct from New York City. Welcome our very special guest and our good friend, Ryan Silverman. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. That is quite an introduction, and what a great bunch of comments from all your lovities.
Welcome to Levity
I'm
Hall.
honored to be already called a levity, so I'm very excited about it.
Drama Desk Awards, Outer Critics Awards, Emmys, Peabodys, Grammys, Tonys, all of it, Oscars. But when you get a levity on the Jim Masters Show live, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
That's pretty good. That's going on my resume.
That's got to go on the resume. Yes. Yeah. And we will all vouch for it. It is credible. It's so a lot of people asking what part of Canada you're from. So the Edmonton area, right?
Yeah, I'm actually from a town called Sherwood Park, which is just outside of Edmonton. But, to make it an easier explanation, it's Edmonton, Alberta. Anyone follows hockey, that's home of the Edmonton Oilers.
That's right.
Who, when I was a little kid, their claim to fame was that they just couldn't lose. They had Wayne Gretzky, and we had the glory days of the NHL hockey, just like Chicago did with the Bulls back in the 90s. So we still hold on to that.
Now, did you play any of it when you were a kid?
I did.
We have this impression here in the States that every kid in Canada has a hockey stick in their hand when they're born.
Yeah, you do. As soon as you're walking, you are playing some form of hockey. So like my first pair of skates were double blades so that you could stand, and then eventually you lose one of the blades. So yeah, right. I was playing hockey by first grade and played all the way through high school. And then, when I realized I wasn't going to quite make it to the NHL, I got to think of something else.
So when did you come to the United States, and what was the thing, the project, the person, the experience that brought you here?
It was the first national tour of Mamma Mia. Living in Canada, if you want to be a performer, certainly in theater and in TV and film, if you want to do that, you kind of got to go to where the work is, which in Canada is Vancouver or Toronto. So I had a show that I was doing. It was called Blood Brothers that took me to Vancouver. So I stayed there, and I stayed there for a couple of years and worked, and then was cast in the national tour of Mamma Mia. So that's what brought me to the U.S.
And what was that like to get that call to be cast, and all of a sudden you're coming to America?
It was pretty cool. I had only been to the U.S. to go to Disneyland and then Disney World.
But of course,
yeah. So it was. I got to travel and see all these states that I had never been to. And I did it for about a year and a half, mainly for the fact that I was getting to see the country. It's one of my first big jobs. So I was sending the money back home to Canada. And that's when, the Canadian dollar was like at 50 cents to the US. So I was making American money and I would send it back home and then I would see what it turned into. And that's where I met my wife. She was the dance captain on the show. So she was really the driving force of staying. As a Canadian, you're working in the US, you get a visa. And when that show's done, the visa's done and you got to leave. Mm-hmm. So she convinced me to try out New York, which wasn't ever really my plan. And I did. And so I started working right away. And so stayed, not just because I was working, but because, I was in love with my girlfriend at the time and my now wife. So she was really the reason that I'm here now.
And then the opportunities really started coming your way too, right? As your name started hitting the streets, people started seeing your talent, seeing your work. New York became, home in a way, right?
It did. It certainly wasn't overnight. I did a lot of regional work first. You mentioned West Side Story. That was my first show. Moving to New York, my first show was West Side Story at North Shore Music Theater, just outside of Boston.
Oh, yeah.
And then my next show after that was a separate production of West Side Story that went through Germany. So I toured Germany for 6 months, which was amazing. But I worked for quite a while before actually getting to Broadway. It wasn't overnight, but it was worth it.
But when you got there, what was that feeling like? It's got to be.
It's a very funny story. You have your idea of what your Broadway debut is going to feel like, and it's glorious in your mind. Everything
in your mind, right?
I was actually doing Phantom of the Opera in Vegas at the Venetian.
Oh yeah.
I did it for 6 months there, that production was incredible. I don't know if any of your Lovities saw it, but it was an incredible production. And I left. I was like, I got to get back to New York. And I left and auditioned for the musical Crybaby. And they're like, could you understudy the lead role of Crybaby? And I was like, sure. I had never done that before, but I was like, yeah. So I got hired, and I'm watching the show before going for a fitting and all that sort of stuff. And the show starts with them wheeling out a kid in an iron lung. And it's the polio vaccination picnic. And it's a big song. It's a big comedy number. And this little guy, Skippy, is their sort of mascot. And he rolls out on his back and he looks at the audience and he goes, gee, I really wish I got that shot. And he wheels off. And I remember thinking, oh, God, that poor guy. I mean, he's on Broadway, but he's playing a kid and he's in an iron lung. That's kind of embarrassing. So I go backstage and they're like, oh, by the way, you're going to be the iron lung guy. And you're considerably taller than him. So can you get in? Because we need to do a fitting because we don't think you're going to fit in the iron lung.
Into the iron lung.
So I couldn't fit in it. So they had to take all this padding out and everything. And in rehearsals, the director just kept going, Ryan, pitch your voice higher. You're a 12-year-old boy named Skippy. And I was like, this is my Broadway debut. Not what I imagined.
Not what you imagined.
But I'm here.
But still there.
Yeah.
And you nailed it, did you?
I don't know. I don't know if I ever got up high enough to be the 12-year-old boy, but I did my best.
Wow. What came from after that? Once, obviously they saw you doing that. I mean, if you could pull that off. Phantom was after that.
Yeah, I went and did that on Broadway.
How did that happen? How did Phantom happen? How was that something that just came to fruition like that for you?
Well, I luckily had done it in Vegas for 6 months. So that introduction was already there. It was a different creative team in a sense, but they already know that I had done it. And I still had to go in and audition, just like you do for everything. And it was just through that audition that I got it. And I remember it was early. I had a cell phone. It wasn't that long ago, but it died. And I really wanted to call because I left and they called me right away and said, you got it. And I was like, yay. my first lead on a Broadway show. So I was really excited. And so I dialed my wife's number and it died. And I was like, oh, and I was right near the TKTS ticket center, which is right in Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two, and I think they probably were the last two phone booths that were still there. And I put in a quarter and I shakily, hadn't picked up one of those in a long time. In Times Square, I was like, oh, but I called my wife on the payphone to let her know that I had gotten the job.
Ah.
That's the last time I ever used a payphone.
That was a very memorable moment in your career and your life's journey.
Yeah.
But how long were you with Phantom?
I did that again. I think I did that for a year and a half. And then moved on to, I can't remember exactly what came after that, but certainly it wasn't show after show after show after show after show, but
Yeah.
the really great thing about Phantom was not just doing the show. I met my manager, David Lai, doing that show. He's the associate conductor. And one day he was like, I was singing along to like Sinatra or something in my dressing room, and he came in and he said, "Do you like singing this?" He said, "It really sits in your voice nice." I said, "Yeah, this is sort of the stuff I grew up with. I love it." And he's like, "Well, I'm a manager as well. I'd like to sort of work with you." And so we sang some stuff, and we just clicked. And he's sort of been my manager in terms of music stuff since then. And I do a lot of symphony concerts kind of all over the world, and it's strictly through meeting him. He's such a incredible man, musician, manager, business minded. He does everything. Like, I don't know a lot of managers who I could call him up and say, "Hey, I need to record this." He'll get the studio, he'll play the piano, he'll do the orchestration charts, he'll do the sheet music, and then that night go and conduct Phantom. It's like, I don't know where he finds the hours, but I'm very blessed to be working with him. So, Phantom, that was another great thing that came out of that, is I didn't have a concert career before meeting him, and
Right.
now I do. So, a lot of great things come out of doing shows, not just the experience of performing.
I tell you, the acting, the singing, is there one that really speaks to your heart more than the other?
Yeah, I think singing, it was really the first thing that I did and sort of knew that I loved. I love the opportunities to just do one or the other, like just act. That is like, it's because I do it less often than a full musical. So I really love that opportunity. But if somebody, held a gun to my head and said, "Hey, you got to pick one thing now for the rest of your life," I would pick singing, because it's the first thing I do in the morning. It's, I know a lot of people who are actors who love doing monologues and just looking at monologues and reciting monologues and working on them. And that's not my first go-to. It would be to work on a song and do the same sort of work, but through singing. So that's what my choice would be.
And we actually have something here that we are going to share with it's a little bit of a surprise, actually.
Oh my.
We have you doing Danny Boy.
Oh,
And
yes.
the one take basement.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that.
That's a great, great version. You really knocked it out of the park. And
Yeah, it was orchestrated by a group called Time for Three. And they let me use that version. So it was their version didn't have a vocal to it. So it's a different take. When you listen to it, it's a little bit different than the traditional version, but gosh, I love it.
Here it is, Ryan Silverman. This is amazing. Danny Boy.
Hello. Welcome back to our one take basement series. Look I'm sitting down. Aren't we crazy? I was tired of standing up in that corner over there. So this is the other side of the room where the board is. And guess what? Linda, who was playing on the last song, is now working the board. Isn't that incredible? So talented. Hey. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to London to sing at Royal Albert Hall at Catherine Jenkins' concert. She's right up on the wall there. It was a concert celebrating the Queen's 90th birthday, and I got to sing a few songs with her, and I also got to sing Danny Boy, which is a song that's been sung a million times, recorded a million times, but it really is beautiful. And I want to do an arrangement of it tonight by a group called Time for Three. And what I like about this arrangement is it makes me, the vocalist, get out of the way. And it allows for the lyric and the music to really tell the story. And I love it for that. So we're going to do, this is a version of Danny Boy. My Stringy Thing, Please. No, okay.
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the roses falling. 'Tis you must go and I must buy. But come ye back when the summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in the springtime or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But come ye back when all the flowers are dying. If I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear though soft you tread above me, and oh, my grave will warmer, sweeter be. For you shall kneel and whisper that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until come to me.
Ah, that's beautiful. A great arrangement by Time for Three. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with your friends. I promise next time when we come back, we're going to change up the music a little bit and maybe more locations. We're going to get crazy. Say bye-bye, Linda. Bye. All right. See you next time.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah, isn't it a beautiful arrangement?
Yes.
So that was a fun thing. I think I did about 15 recordings, I guess, over a period of time. And the whole idea was just to do songs that I wanted to sing, songs that, were requested, but do them in one take, just to challenge myself and just to show, that not everything that you hear is, pieced together and tweaked and, reverb and all that sort of stuff. So that was just me singing into a mic, and there was times in certain recordings where the track would stop or something, the mic would kick out. So instead of just starting from where we left off, I'd go right back to the beginning, do the whole intro again, and and sing the song all the way through again. So it was a fun idea. It was called the One Take Basement Series.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, actually, guess what we have?
Oh, welcome back to the
Ave
Basement
Maria.
One Take series.
Oh my gosh.
That's a terrible name. We're going to change that. I promise.
Oh yeah, that
But,
was our
this
first.
is the second video. I hope you
That's
like the
it. Second
first one.
video, yeah.
My name is Ryan Silverman. And it's Christmas time.
Check this out.
So it makes sense to do a Christmas song. We're going to sing Ave Maria, which is not a Christmas song, but it really feels so Christmassy. I'm from Canada, so I always want to say Ave Maria, which I think is how we sing it in Canada. But I'm going to sing Ave Maria here. There comes the music. Isn't that a beautiful intro? Again, remember to share this. If you like it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear. Next week, we're going to actually do a real Christmas song. But this is Ave Maria.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Maria, gratia plena, Maria, gratia plena, Ave, Ave Dominus, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, e benedictus, benedictus fructus ventris, ventris tui, Iesus. Ave Maria.
We're going to have a slight intermission. This is where I invite you to go get a cocktail, perhaps pop some popcorn, make some phone calls. I'll be here when you get back. How long is this, by the way? I'm on my okay, good. We're getting close, so if you're in the kitchen, come back. We should get dancers or something to fill in. Do a nice little pas de deux right here. Oh, we're back.
Maria, gratia plena, Maria, gratia plena, Ave, Ave Dominus, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in
ventris
We actually have relatives on my mother's side, so that would be my grandmother. That side of the family settled a town and a mountain in New Brunswick called Kierstead Falls and Kierstead Mountain. They actually settled the town many, many moons ago. And it's a beautiful area there in New Brunswick. And we discovered 100 more relatives. My mother's already the youngest of 16. And we discovered 100 more relatives in Canada.
Wow. Did you do that 23andMe or Ancestry.com? Have you done that?
I haven't done it yet, but other family has. And that's actually how they discovered that. There was my mother's mother, so my great-grandmother, came over from Sweden, from Gothenburg. She was a princess. She lived in a castle, part of the Swedish royal family, settled in Boston, Massachusetts. Then when she was older, she met Arthur Kierstead of the Kierstead clan. They came from Europe, settled in New York, then went up to Canada. And that side of the family, is the Kierstead side, is the side that's settled that whole town and mountain and everything there in New Brunswick.
Wow.
Cool. I know English, Irish, Swedish, and French. Those are the ones that I know.
I'm adopted. So I just was told that you're French and Irish. And I was like, I'd like to know more. And it turns out I'm almost entirely Irish, almost no French, and German and Polish and a whole mix of things. But that's sort of why I did it, is to sort of, and it's interesting because I'm getting little bits of emails every now and saying, you have a second cousin, you have a first cousin. So it's, it could open up a whole can of worms of a family that I don't even know yet,
See, the Irish part's where the humor comes from.
Yes, exactly.
The Irish wit. With the name Silverman, does anybody ever ask if you're Jewish?
Yes, they do. It's very funny because in Sherwood Park, Alberta, nobody's Jewish. Nobody is. So my parents told me the whole being adopted and, your name's Jewish, because my dad's dad was Romanian, and my adoptive dad's dad was Romanian. He married a Catholic in Canada, so that was the end of the Jewish religion for him. My dad was raised with sort of no, organized religion in his life. It was sort of the same for me. So being Jewish, my parents told me, and I was like, oh, I don't even really know what that means, but okay. And it wasn't until I came to really like New York and people were like, oh, you're Silverman. Like, it was like, I said, yeah, are you a Silverman? No, but I know so many. Is your father a lawyer? He's a lawyer. Is he from New York? I said, no, up in Canada. I'm not really Jewish. And then it was, like I learned just to not say I'm not Jewish. I was just like, no, he's not from here, but yeah. I was in the Diamond District shopping for a ring for my wife. And that's when I realized just to keep my mouth shut and just go with the fact that I'm Jewish, because deals were to be had. I didn't want to mess that up.
But you've always had this thing for chopped liver, haven't you?
That's right.
That is funny. So Irish is the dominance.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. My father's mother's side comes all from Ireland. And Jennifer says Irish, Scottish, English, and Italian. She's a handful, her boyfriend Ken says. Merlin says her mother is Ukraine,
Yeah, I think I
Polish,
had a little bit of, I had definitely had Polish in there.
Polish in there. Karen is in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Have you been over to that area?
You know what? I haven't. The furthest east I think I've been is, I want to say Toronto. I think is really, I really want to go Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island and just see that whole, that whole side of the country, because it's, I have friends who do go there regularly and they love it, the culture. And we the Broadway show Come From Away is a huge hit here, and I remember reading about this article of the town. Is it Nova Scotia? The town in Nova Scotia? Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong. That all the planes during 9/11 were diverted and landed there, and they fed everybody. And I remember it being a big news article. They've made a musical out of it, which is now a Tony-winning musical, and it's a beautiful musical. And the music and the culture and stuff is so, I just love it. I grew up listening to all these Celtic bands, Great Big Sea in Canada.
There's a big Irish, connection, especially with Eastern Canada. Absolutely. Karen, who's in Nova Scotia, says, I guess it's Newfoundland.
Newfoundland, that's right.
Yeah. Is where they housed that. Yeah, that's incredible. Juanita's in South Africa. She says, what a great life story. We have loads of Jewish lawyers here in South Africa.
Are they Silvermans?
Silver Mines.
Silver Mines.
We have, before we have you sing, and again, those were really some really fantastic. You were surprised too. You didn't even know we were going to have those.
No,
two.
I didn't. No.
But I was thumbing through and I said, they're really beautifully done, and you're comical in them as well. And it's those were fantastic. You were really brilliant with that.
Thank you very much.
We got some absolutely fantastic photos along the way here too that we want to share, and then we'll have you belt something out. But tell us about this one. That's a cool shot, Ryan.
Yeah, that was actually one of my first New York productions. It was at City Center Encores. That's myself and Sierra Bogus, an incredible Broadway performer, and I am forgetting the name of the gentleman on the right side in the tuxedo. But it was what Encores does is they take old musicals that are never done anymore and they remount them and they put them on again. This is called Music in the Air, and you can see I'm in Lederhosen.
Yes.
So that was a first for me. And we've gone to a town. I'm not entirely sure if I remember the storyline, but we go to a town for whatever reason to try and save something or save part of a town or something. And Kristen Chenoweth was in the show. And that was the first time I got to work with her. But this was one of the first New York productions I had done after, doing tours and things like that and regional shows. So, and these shows are very short-lived. You see, we're holding our binders because you have a week of rehearsals to put up the show. And so you can hold your script because God knows, you're probably not going to remember everything. And that's sort of the whole thing about it, is everyone has a script in their hand, but it's blocked and costumed, and it's a really kind of a unique New York experience.
That's a fantastic shot. It really, really is. We got a few more here too. Your scrapbook must be like mine. You just have all of these fantastic photos, where you're looking rather dapper and something like this, and then very dainty in this.
Yes, that was Mamma Mia. And they had a nightmare scene. I'm getting married, and she's having a nightmare, and there's somebody spinning around, and it has a veil on, and then it turned around, and it's me who's going to be her husband, and she freaks out and wakes up. But that was my first time and last wearing a wedding dress that, obviously, as you can see, was not cut to cover anything from the waist up, which was a very odd wedding dress. But It was that, and then, you know, my other costume piece was like a bathing suit. It was the weirdest experience on stage doing that show.
That is, I say that's versatility. That's talent. You know
There
what I
you
mean?
go.
There's no way you could have pulled that off without being talented.
You have to have, yeah, just as long as you have a little confidence, you can pull anything off.
That's it. It's another cool shot. Tell us about this
Phantom,
one.
yeah, that was Phantom with Christy Holden as
Mm,
Christine.
very nice. Very nice. Again, that's really amazing to have been a part of that production, huh? I mean,
It
people
was.
dream of being a part of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's lasting forever for a reason. This is my first time doing West Side Story. That's me as Tony. I'm knocking my camera. That's me playing Tony singing something's coming. Something's coming. I don't know what it is, but it is gonna be great.
And you're reaching for it.
Yeah.
That's a great shot too. So's this one.
Yeah, that's Laura Michelle Kelly and I at the Lincoln Center production of Camelot, where I was playing Lancelot.
Notice how you said that?
Camelot, Lancelot.
Lancelot.
Camelot.
How long were you doing that? How
That
long
was
did that go for?
I believe that was a one-off. That was a one-off production. It was
Yeah.
Lincoln Center's yearly gala.
Mm.
And so again, we rehearsed for, and that one we did not have scripts in hand. So we rehearsed that, I think, as well for a week, and then banged it out for one day. This is, I love this shot. This looks like the caption would be, "Did I forget to turn off the oven?" That's when I look at this picture every time. I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is from another Encores production just a few years ago, of another obscure musical called The Golden Apple, which was entirely, much like Les Mis, entirely sung.
Mm.
So no dialogue, just orchestrated through the entire thing. And it was a bizarre little show, but man, it was such an experience and a huge challenge. That was my really first time. And I was on stage most of the show and just singing nonstop. So it was a really great memory doing that show. That was Golden Apple.
Great experience, huh?
Yeah. That's another Lancelot. That was the first time I got to wear leather pants. And they were really cool. And I was like, I think the only place you can really now wear leather pants is on stage. Because I walk down the street.
Because you don't see them.
Not anymore. I don't know. I don't think I could pull that off walking down the streets of New York.
Or Peoria.
Yeah.
It's a cool collage.
Yeah, this is Passion, which was one of my favorite acting experiences. This was at Classic Stage Company here in New York. That's Judy Kuhn, the famous Judy Kuhn, and Melissa Errico down in the bottom.
Yes, who was a guest on our show, and she's amazing, and
she's wonderful. We're good friends. We sing together a lot, do concerts together a lot, and this was just an incredible experience. This was like I first got my first Drama Desk nomination. Acting heavy. I was on stage. I did not leave the stage, actually. I was on the stage the whole time. If anyone's familiar with the director, John Doyle, he likes to strip down everything. So there was hardly any set. And whatever chairs you used in the scene before, and you just moved it. And it made it very, very magical. And this is Passion. It's written by Stephen Sondheim. And I'm a huge, as our most musical theater people, that's their god in terms of
it's the go-to.
Doesn't get any better than him,
No.
So to get to do one of his shows, and he would come and he would give notes, and he was in rehearsal sometimes. Well, what an honor.
Absolutely. Tell us about this shot. This is cool.
Yeah, this is Judy Kuhn. So the context of the story is I'm in the army, but my character is sort of more a poetic kind of person. He's not an alpha male, and he's in a very provincial town with a bunch of other army guys, and they are rowdy as you would expect, and he's just not fitting in. And this Judy Kuhn is playing the daughter of one of the captains, and she's sickly and needy, but she's also very artistic and likes to read and is well spoken, and so my character becomes very captivated by her, but almost takes on her illness in a way. So he starts as a very sane, sound young man, and by the end of it, he's sort of has lost his way and lost his mind due to this relationship. And so it was, what a great, as an actor, what a great challenge to get to do that every night. And Judy Kuhn, I don't know if you know her. She's, gosh, I remember listening to her in the musical Chess.
Yes.
And so to get to, and on so many other things, so to get to work with her, she was the voice of Pocahontas, for crying out loud. So to get to work with her was a real honor.
Exactly. Cool stuff. I love it. These shots are great.
Yeah, this is
And there's
rehearsals with
Melissa,
Melissa, Erica, and Judy and I at 42nd Street Studios, which is a beautiful rehearsal space right on 42nd Street.
Now, are the studios or things starting to slowly open? I know they have, you and I were talking before we went live on the air, there are certain target dates that they have for reopening New York, sort of in a staggered way, with the smaller theaters in July, and then Broadway itself, fingers crossed, in September.
Yeah, I mean, that's that's what they're saying, and I think people are hoping that they can meet that goal. It will really be the smaller theaters that can open up, because the truth is, if they say we can open up Broadway shows in September, a producer needs people in the seats. So if the tourists aren't back yet, if the confidence of the general population isn't quite there yet, if there's a limitation on the capacity, if they can only do 25 or 35% capacity, I don't know any producer who's going to open up a Broadway show, because they'll lose money and they'll close right away. For example, I was doing Chicago. I was playing Billy Flynn in Chicago when everything shut down. I don't think they could reopen with unless there was at least a 75% capacity, because that's what they need to pay their bills,
to be able to afford. Right.
So if it even is 75%, are they going to get 75%? Because shows like Phantom, as we spoke about, Wicked, Lion King, Chicago, are really at this point tourist shows. It depends on tourists to come and see those shows, and if they're not coming in, then they're not going to be in the seats. So it'll just depend on what the limitations are. Are the hotels back? Are the restaurants back? Is there life back in Midtown for a producer to sort of feel confident enough to go, all right, well, I think we can try this and open it up. So I don't think it's going to be, come September, everything, boom, opens up.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of stuff that we don't think about, which is those theaters have not been used at this point. It's going to be a year and a half.
Right.
Everything has to be re-teched. Everything has to be fixed. All the moving parts that haven't moved for a year and a half.
Filtration systems and
new air filtrations. Some actors who maybe aren't coming back have to be recast. You have to, So there's a lot of rehearsals and tech and everything that will have to take place in order to reopen up, which is also going to be a big expense. So, hopefully September it does happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little more delay than that.
Got some more happy photos here.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This was at in Carnegie Hall.
Yeah.
I am forgetting the name of the show. It'll come to me.
Gilligan's Island remake.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
You're the
skipper. Glitter and Be Gay. What's that from?
Oh yeah. I know. Yeah.
I keep thinking Carmen, but it's not Carmen.
Tip of the tongue. Yeah.
Maybe one of our.
Want to phone a friend?
Yeah, right.
That's what I say if a guest is stumped. I say, "You want to phone a friend?"
But that was a cool experience. I've sung at Carnegie Hall a few times, but what was neat about this is you could see the choir in the background. I think there was at least 50, 60 people in the background. And so the sound and the orchestra was right there too. Was exceptional. And these are incredible opera singers that were in front of me, which I'm not an opera singer, but I tend to get into that world every now and then. But to just listen to those kind of trained voices, holy man, it was pretty cool.
I've had the pleasure of emceeing a lot of holiday concerts there with the full orchestra and the choral groups and the performers. And there's just something magical about, and the acoustics at Carnegie Hall are spectacular.
They really are.
It's a very unassuming place.
Yeah.
It's just it's simple. It's got a lot of simplicity to it.
Yeah, there's nothing hugely elegant. It's a very vastly wide open space. But boy, standing on just the history of who has performed there, you know, when you're backstage and you see all the photos of who's been there, it's a pretty like pinch me moment, you know.
It really is. This is a cool shot.
Yeah, that's Billy Flynn in Chicago. God, what a fun role that is. You know, it's funny. You just get to be this charming lawyer, and you have everybody else dancing around you.
Yeah.
Working their butts off, dancing Fosse, and I hardly move. I come on stage and I sing and I give long monologues, but it's almost in place. And everyone's like, they come off sweating, and I come off and I'm like, whew, a little chilly out there, don't you think? Like, it's just like, it's a fun role.
That's fantastic. When you're having fun, there's nothing that tops it. Here's another great shot.
Yeah, that's Into the Woods. That's Rapunzel's Prince in Into the Woods, another beautiful Sondheim musical.
Do you have a favorite? I mean, of all the different things you've had an opportunity to partake in, is there one that really to you is that role, whether it's the role that is closest to your heart and soul as far as who you are, or it's just the role that you consider of a lifetime?
You know, I mean, playing Billy Flynn in Chicago is a role that I think suits me like the most. Like, that's the least work for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Passion, I think, is the most rewarding show that I've ever done. It just, for all the reasons, just singing Sondheim's music, which is very difficult and intricate. I'm not even saying that right.
Intricate?
Thank you. I'll go with what you said. And so it's difficult to learn, but it's one of those things, once it's in your brain, you never forget it. It's stuck in there forever. And it's some of the most haunting music and expressive and powerful, but then just the challenge playing that character was something that, you know, every single day I never got used to it. You know, I always was like, discovering something or realizing, oh, that's what that's supposed to be, or oh wow, I really overplayed that today. I got to hold back. So it was a real journey as an actor in that one, and that's really something that goes down so far as one of my favorite experiences.
That's fantastic.
You know, I was supposed to. My wife had just given birth. Well, going back a couple of months, my wife was pregnant, and I was cast to be the lead in the huge Broadway musical called Rebecca. I don't know if you've heard this crazy story. Based on the Rebecca du Maurier novel. And it was really a cool thing, and it was going to be huge. It was like one of my first really big breaks. And Sunday night, we were going to start rehearsals on Monday. And Sunday, we got a message from the stage manager saying, don't come to rehearsal. Show has been canceled indefinitely. And long story short, there was lawsuits and people who said they were going to pay money and they didn't give money. And it was crazy. So I lost a whole year's of work. And my wife was about to have a baby. And then this side Passion came up. And it really sort of saved the day. It was financially not what Rebecca was going to be. And at first I was like, oh man, how are we going to pay the bills? But when you're doing something like that, it suddenly didn't matter. It was so worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
And there's probably teachable moments and things you learned during all that, right? Probably learned resilience, strength, and togetherness. And we'll get through this together, you know?
Absolutely. And just sort of embracing the moment and not worrying about what's next or what's not next or what was supposed to happen, and just being in the moment and going, this is what we're doing now. And it was, like I said, I wouldn't have traded that for anything.
Absolutely.
Sideshow on Broadway. This was my second Drama Desk nomination. What a great show. If you ever have a chance to listen to this cast album,
Oh,
the music
yeah.
is stunning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on a true story of these two conjoined twins, as you can see in the photo, that were in a freak show as performers, and a manager is Terry Connor. I think he's sort of a amalgamation of people from real life, but took them out of freak shows and put them in vaudeville. And at the height of the Depression, they were making $50,000 per performances for their vaudeville shows. They were hugely successful.
Unbelievable.
And they got swindled. People took their money. They were heavy drinkers. They died alone and poor. It's a very tragic story, but this show, Sideshow, is the moment of finding them and taking them out and making them stars. And that was a really, really fun show. Beautiful show.
I've asked this question of some guests before, especially if they're in the performance arena. How do you detach from the intensity of a role that you've taken on? If it really, maybe it's dark or maybe it's just very emotional, how are you able to separate? Because I know a lot of times you can really get into the thick of it where not that you take on the persona of the role, and some people do confuse themselves with the role of themselves, and they sort of blend the two worlds together. But how are you able to, if it's a really intense, it's just a 24/7 intensity for you, how are you able to step back, breathe, and sort of remove yourself for your own sanity from it so you can come back at it again fresh?
Yeah, it really is a learned an art, I guess, is to not get caught up and take what you're doing home with you. You know what I mean? Again, I think with my Canadian DNA, it's very easy for me to like switch off and on and go from one to the other, which is, I think, a blessing. But again, for Passion, that was a very, very heavy show. And I think it was just, first of all, it depends who you're surrounded by. And we were all, it worked out well that we were all all the guys were in the same dressing room. So when we'd come off, it was very lighthearted immediately, because everybody knew it was like, okay, we got to get out of this headspace, go home, and come back and do this tomorrow. So it really is who you put yourself around, and it's just focusing on shaking it off, coming home, having a cocktail, putting on something funny, and not sort of trying to stay living in that. I know a lot of people who try and do that, and they think it's beneficial for their art, but in the long term for their sanity, it's no, and nobody wants to hang out with you. You're no fun. You know what I mean? But it is something, the longer you do this business, it's something that you learn how you can turn it on and off much easier.
So you're able to detach, which is great, because some people, they also get typecast, so they are not even allowed to detach. They were so fantastic in a certain role that everybody wants to keep them in that role, and they only see them, whether it's the public, the producers, whoever, they only see them as that person, and they won't let them leave that role. Have you ever had anything close to that at all?
No, I think that is something that you really experience once you get into the TV and film world, where you're Chandler forever, or you're whoever forever, and you have to
Lucy Ricardo.
You have to work to like get somebody else to see you in a different light. In terms of theater, there's always an end date, or usually, where you can then move on to something else. It's not, you're not being seen by the world. It's more of it's a smaller sphere of influence and viewers that generally doesn't happen. You might start to get, and this is true, you do, like when I did Phantom, they were like, oh, he's the sort of the ingenue leading man, serious type. And I was like, no, I'm not at all. I'm really not. And I had to really work to sort of get out of that sort of pigeonhole. And I still certainly do it. But I've had opportunities, where they thought, I don't think he can go that deep into that. And I had to show them that I could, or I don't think he can really be that funny. I think we need somebody who's funny. And I had to go and show them that I could be funny. So you do get that sort of on the casting side of things, but not really in terms of audience members.
That's good. That's great. Yeah. You've been very lucky. Merlin is signing you up for the Hallmark movies. The Hallmark channel.
Oh, I would love it. And they shoot a lot up in Canada.
They do, and they use a lot of Canadian
I think that's
talent.
mostly where they shoot. So I'm
think
telling
Vancouver, right? Vancouver area.
They do a lot in Vancouver and outside Toronto.
Toronto as well.
Yeah, but gosh, I agree. I would love to do that. Those movies are great. This is the first time I did Billy Flynn, and in Chicago, and we couldn't get a babysitter. Kim, my wife, was out of town, and so I brought the blankets and everything, and she stayed there with me. And my dresser was so nice. She'd be like, "You got to go on stage." So I'd go, and she'd stay with her and like play with her. And then I'd come running back up off the stage and then lie down with her and play with her. And then I'd have to go again, and I'd leave, and she'd burst into tears. It was like, it was so hard, but I just thought, I love that picture so much.
That's very special.
Billy Flynn being a dad.
That is a very special picture. Here's a cool one too. Now that's a further back shot from the Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. So you can see we're miming being on a ship, and it's projected in the background.
Yes, they can do that on the back walls there at Carnegie. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was that was a pretty cool experience. That's me as Terry Connor in Sideshow. Looks like Billy Flynn, but
doesn't it a little bit?
Yeah, I had this beautiful song. One of my favorite songs to sing is Soliloquy from Carousel. Mm-hmm. I just think it's one of the most spectacularly written songs, and it's about 6 minutes long. This was a very similar thing. I can't remember the name of the song, but it's me. I have fallen in love with one of the girls, but who is conjoined with her sister, and it's this battle of like, how could that happen? And in the middle of it, she comes almost like a dream just by herself, and we do this beautiful pas de deux together, and it's about a 7-minute song. And it was like, reminded me of the Carousel, and I loved singing it every single night. It came in the second act. I have a funny story. We were doing this show one evening, and Rosie O'Donnell had come to the show, and she was still on The View at that time. And I'm singing just like that, and the background is black, and the spotlight's just on me, and it's very intimate and very quiet as I'm singing. And what you can't see in the background is the big set piece, the big freak show set piece is coming off. But they had failed to lower one of the big wood pieces. So as it was going off, it got caught on the side of the wing because it was lower. And as it was being pulled off, it just started to wrench, and the wood started to splinter, and you hear this, and then crew mem going, "Oh God, we gotta get, stop moving it," just yelling. And I was still just like, it all happening behind me going, please don't anything land on me. But I just kept singing. And the next morning on The View, Rosie mentioned that very moment.
She was there.
She was like, I couldn't believe it. He didn't stop singing. It sounded like all hell was breaking loose in the back, but he kept singing. She said it was
what a professional.
Yeah. So it was a pretty funny story.
That is cool. That is fantastic. Here's another cool shot.
Yeah, that's in rehearsals for Camelot. That's Brian Stokes Mitchell there up on the top. Yeah. Left, and Laura Michelle Kelly. Just a little glimpse onto what rehearsals are like,
Exactly.
Just trying whatever. We have our scripts in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
he's jumping up on a thing to try and see if that works. You know, I don't know what stuck and what didn't, but you can see the cast members sort of in the background, just sitting and waiting for their turn to go on. Backpacks against walls, nothing glamorous, but just working through scenes.
Exactly. We talk about that a lot here on the show. All the blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifice and rehearsals and perfecting so that when the light shines, boom, it doesn't seem, it seems effortless and easy, but
we've done it.
This is some of the,
yeah. And for
pudding, yeah,
exactly. And we've done it over and over and over again to make it look like it's easy and seamless.
That's what it's all about.
This is Passion in Paris, a different production entirely. But boy, I don't know if any of your viewers know Natalie Dessay, but she's a world famous opera singer.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know much about her, but was told all about her when I got hired. And I purposely didn't YouTube her or go online to listen to her because
Google her, and
I didn't want a preconceived notion or to freak myself out. But
good
after
idea.
the first week of rehearsals, I got to know her and we rehearsed. She's playing Fosca, which is really low. Low. I come to find out that she's world famous as this soprano. And if you Google her and listen to her, it's the most incredible voice. She's the tiniest little thing, but the largest sound comes out of her voice, and it's stunning. And so after that first week, I was like, oh my God, that's who I'm working with. And it was pretty cool.
The roles should be reversed. It should be you laying on the floor saying that. Oh my God, that's who I'm working with.
I know. No, but she was
that's fantastic.
Just an exquisite instrument,
And to do it in Paris too, not too shabby,
man. Huh? I would go back there in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Loved it. There they are, the girls. That's the girl that I was falling in love with.
Mm-hmm.
Emily Paget is her name, and she was great actress. That was
cool stuff.
It's so fun looking at these photos again.
Everybody says that when we do this on the show, because a lot of times, there isn't time on the air with a lot of shows to take this kind of time like this. But when you do, it sort of brings back some cool tingles and memories for you, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It shows you some of the body of work and all the time put in. Is another great one.
Yeah, this is a scene from Passion, and the one I did in Paris, and it's the first moment where she's sickly, and that's supposed to be her bed, and I just sit down, and we were looking up at the stars, and it's the first time that we sort of get connected and discover that we have an equal passion for sort of all things poetic,
Yeah.
It's sort of the calm before the storm.
The calm before, right? Exactly. Yeah. Really, really nice.
This is Melissa and I in Finian's Rainbow here in New York.
Very cool.
Yeah, what I look at you and suddenly I think I'm singing Old Black Magic in this in that scene there.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was a fun one too. Boy, I mean, the show itself I feel is quite dated, but the music in that is just lives on forever. They could do a concert version of that show and it would sell out because it's just, Glockamora, Look to the Rainbow, Old Devil Moon. There's so many stunning songs that they wrote for this musical.
Yeah. Again, you've had this wonderful breadth of variety, which I think is amazing too. Here's another one.
Yeah.
That's Melissa, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Melissa. Ken Jennings, with the cane there, he plays the father. Ken Jennings, famed to claim he was Tobias in one of my favorite musicals. I'm blanking on the name of it. Another Sondheim
Not to be confused with the Ken Jennings from Jeopardy.
Not the Ken Jennings from Jeopardy. No.
Because I'm going to say, my God, that guy's everywhere. He's now on Broadway.
Yeah. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, I
He
tell
can
you.
do everything.
Yeah. From afar, it could look a little like him. That is something. It looks like everybody's having a good time there.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
was a
great,
blast.
the facial expressions that you guys have. It's terrific.
Yeah. Another
Yeah.
really Celtic heavy show, which I always love.
A scene like that, absolutely. And then we go in for the kill.
Yeah. Look at the expressions on everybody. Oh, man.
And that was Patrick in the front row saying that, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Of course, for those watching, Melissa Erica was on our show. Of course, you guys know if you missed that episode, you can see it in our archives at Jim Masters TV on YouTube. And her husband is Patrick McEnroe, who was with us last week, the tennis star and ESPN tennis commentator. We had a great episode with him. You can check that out. And cool stuff. And actually, it was Melissa that told me about Ryan, which we really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm glad she did.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. She's a class act, as are you. Here's another great one.
Yes, Comedy of Tenors. Boy, we had fun doing this. This was a play, but we all had to sing one opera song. The man in the middle was the older opera singer. I was the new one coming in who was a threat to his career. And the one on the right was, sort of an assistant who wanted to be an opera singer. And so we were all sort of auditioning this song in the play. Mm-hmm. And that was at the Paper Mill Playhouse. That was slapstick comedy, tripping over couches and getting slapped in the face, all that kind of stuff that I don't get to do so much, but boy, I love it.
Yeah. Keeps you on your toes. Absolutely. Here's another one.
Yeah. So we get caught. The show starts off. The show starts off where it opens up and there's a couch and just blankets thrown on the couch. And someone comes in a tizzy trying to get ready because the famous opera singer is coming to stay in the room. And little did they know that his daughter, the famous opera singer's daughter, who is in my arms, and I are underneath that blanket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's about a 10-minute scene that goes on. And finally they leave. And then we whip open and we're just in our underwear and we're like, have been underneath that thing the whole time. And the audience doesn't know. So it's a big surprise and it's really funny. And then it's us trying to figure out how to get dressed and how to get out without being caught. And that's sort of the start of all the slapstick, fast-paced comedy. So this is at that moment.
It would have to have the slapstick thrown in. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any hesitation when they said, okay, you got to strip down to the underwear in the beginning, or you were like, hey, bring it on. It's part of the role.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I just obviously was like, all right, I got to watch what I'm eating for the next few weeks. But, but yeah, no, it was, I thought it was funny, and there's nothing charming about those underwear. They were like the old school tighty whities,
sort of like the
high waisted,
fifth grade stuff.
Exactly.
That's it. No boxers, briefs.
No, just briefs. That's it right there. That's us popping up on the couch and trying to decide if we can get out without being caught.
So the audience is probably like roaring at that point, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. It was very funny.
That's cool. Great photos. Where was this one taken? We used this in the promo.
That is an interesting story.
It's a nice one.
The first time that I did Chicago, I've done it. I've gone back and forth several times.
Yeah.
One of the publicists was like, let's get some photos of you just as you, and there's a couple of you in your tuxedo as Billy Flynn. In the theater is at the very, very, very top is an apartment that the owner of the hotel of the theater used to live in. Mm-hmm. And it's a big, beautiful apartment that hasn't been lived in for probably 80 years. So it's empty. So you have to get to it, you have to go up to the balcony inside the theater, and then there's a little door, and you walk through the little door that leads you to a fire escape that takes you up to the entrance of this apartment. And the kitchen is still there, the bedroom is still there, the chandelier is still there, the tile floors. And this was just one of the, this was a window in, I think, the living room. I just thought it was so fascinating. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a cool shot.
Yeah, it really is.
Great stuff. Taking a look at all these great shots and all these different performances,
Yeah.
and he's just getting started, gang.
Well,
he's been doing it a while, but he's just getting started.
That's right. Or restarted now, 2021, fresh restart.
It's funny because some of the folks that have popped on this show and other shows that I host in TV and radio, I'll ask something like, so, what is that role? The one that, what do you think you got that break and all that? And they're like, I mean, these are people who could be doing it for 40 years, and they'll say, I'm still waiting for it. Still waiting for the next, whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
What about film and television?
That, I've done a fair amount of it, and it also shut down. So it's now coming back too. And it's also a new learning curve where you're doing self-tapes from home.
Do you enjoy it? Do you have
very much, yeah.
Or is theater always going to be closest to your heart?
I think so, but the reality is if you can do more TV and film, that will lead to more theater. It just is the way that it is nowadays. So any time that that opportunity comes up, I jump at it. And every actor now is becoming their own production team, doing
self-tapes at home, and the lighting and
the lighting and the thing, and my wife helping me read and then editing it together. But I gotta say, I'll take it over the in-person. It's much more freeing and less stressful to do it this way.
Unless your Wi-Fi goes out, then there's an issue.
then you're in trouble.
Then the world drops. You wanted to sing something for us, right?
Yeah, we spoke a lot about passion and my love for it, and my love for what Stephen Sondheim wrote. So I'm going to do two songs from that put together. One is called "Loving You," which is Fosca singing it to Giorgio about how loving you is just what I do. It's just, I can't not do it. And at the end of the show, Giorgio sings to Fosca, realizing that he has never been loved in the way that she does love him. And I put them together just because I think they're quite beautiful. So let's give this a try.
All right, my friend.
Let's see if you can all hear this.
All right.
This is still on.
Yep, we hear it. Sounds
perfect.
Good. All right, take it away.
Loving you is not a choice, it's who I am. Loving you is not a choice, and not much reason to rejoice, but it gives me purpose, gives me voice to say to the world, this is why I live. You are why I live. Loving you is why I do the things I do. Loving you is not in my control. But loving you, I have a goal for what's left of my life. I will live and I would die for you. No one has ever loved me as deeply as you. No one has truly loved me as you have, Fosca. Love without reason, Love without mercy, love without pride or shame. Love unconcerned with being returned. No wisdom, no judgment, no caution, no blame. No one has ever known me as clearly as you. No one has ever shown me what love could be like until now. Not pretty or safe or easy, but more than I ever knew. Love within reason, that isn't love. And I've learned that from you.
Now, what was the second song you were going to say? No. That was fantastic. The way you
Thank you.
blended the two together like that.
Yeah, they go together so well, and I just think they're, out of context from the show. I think they work so well. It's just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sentimentality of the lyric of,
Yeah.
no one. I love this. If I can get to the first page here, because I just think it's. Loving you is not a choice, it's who I am. Loving you is not a choice and not much reason to rejoice, but it gives me purpose, gives me voice to say to the world, this is why I live. You are why I live. I just think that is, gosh,
Yeah, says it all,
it
right?
means one thing in the show, but if you take that out of context, that just means everything.
It really does.
If somebody said that to you, boy, I'd be sold.
That was it. I think some of the Lovedies are relatively sold. You guys seem to be sold here. So lovely, Ryan. You sing with such expression. This has been an enjoyable conversation with you, Christine Clifton in North Carolina, one of our Lovedy Squad viewers. And Ryan, did you ever? She likes to sometimes ask this question. You ever see a theater ghost? She always sees them.
Jennifer does? Really? Oh man, that's cool. I honestly wish. I've heard stories. I've heard other people's stories that just kind of makes the hair stand up on your arms. That's why I never have. I maybe one day I'll get to, but that's why they use the ghost light. That's right. At the end of every show, it's not to keep them away necessarily, but it's to say that we respect you. We're here. You're here. Let's live together, and in harmony and peace. Yeah, it's a beautiful tradition. But boy, I wish, because some people have told stories where they see somebody walk in the wings as they're doing a show, and they'll be, oh, someone was backstage, and they're like, no, I was right there. Nobody was there, and it's just like, what?
Door creaking.
Yeah.
Claps coming in from Canada, from Merlin in Ontario.
Thank you, Merlin.
And, Christine also loving it as well. Very enjoyable conversation. And Karen, claps from Nova Scotia.
Go Canada.
And Juanita in South Africa. Beautiful voice. So easy on the ear.
Much appreciated, Juanita. Thank you. Thank you, Anne.
And beautiful from Florida, and also Florida, another Lovedy Squad viewer. And Lovedy, Mary Bishop, says, wonderful. Like Lawrence Welk. Wonderful.
With
all the bubbles.
Yeah.
Amazing, beautiful. From Kathleen, one of our Lovedy Squad viewers in New York City.
Katie
Herring says, I could totally see Ryan playing the role of Aladdin in an upcoming show.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? Gosh, I'd love that.
Such a great voice. I hope I can see you in something one day in New York.
Well, Karen, so do I. I hope so too. I hope so too. When things open up again in Broadway, it doesn't mean I have a show to go to. But fingers crossed. I'll do my best, and hopefully you can see me in something soon.
Jennifer says, can you have Ryan back? Absolutely. We'll keep the porch light on for him. Absolutely.
Please do.
Jennifer Barry, Marshall Line in Massachusetts. So beautiful. That would make me fall in lovety.
All in lovety. I can't help falling in lovety with you.
think the icebergs are melting. Ryan, do you do any, is it Mullins in Edmonton?
Ballins?
In
What is
Edmonton.
Ballins? I don't think I know what that is.
I don't either.
Ballins.
In Edmonton. What is that, Merlin? Maybe you can post again and share what that is with us. You have us stumped. Jim and Ryan are stumped. Hello, Lovedies. I'm late to the party. Amy, welcome. Good to have
Welcome,
you
Amy.
here. She's a wonderful poet, and she watches all the time. You have that voice that makes a lady swoon.
Wow, thank you, Maureen. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate that.
It's cool stuff, huh? Cool stuff. So, Merlin, yeah, tell us about the Ballins in Edmonton. So what are some of the things, well, I know there's many, but some of those blessings and joys in your life, Ryan, that keep you motivated and keep you spirited and wanting to create and collaborate and still do what you do so well?
Well, you know, I mean, the main thing for me now is I have an 8-year-old daughter. You saw a picture of her when she was a baby. She's 8 now.
Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah, and she's just a constant inspiration, and she just is so intrigued by both what my wife and I do, and it has actually sort of reinvigorated me in so many ways. I now have somebody else to sort of think about and to work hard for, not just myself and my own goals, but just to see her light up when she comes to would come to Chicago and she hangs out backstage. She loves it, and she's like, "When are you going to do another show, Dad? When are you going to do another concert?" And it really keeps me motivated to keep, when I'm not able to work, keep singing, keep doing what I can, so that when the time comes, that I can be ready to jump back in. So really, she's sort of my inspiration now, just seeing her face light up whenever I'm doing something or singing something, or watching her do it now, makes me want to just continue and keep working hard and to show her what hard work can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what is required to do this in a living. It's not an easy living, and you've got to work hard. And so it's important for me to show her that.
Absolutely. Merlin says, know any people named Ballin in Edmonton?
Oh, no people named Ballin. No. Boland. I know a couple of Bolans, Boland, but no Ballin.
If the Ballins are watching, hello.
Hello, Ballins, if you're watching.
Such a wonderful personality, positive, makes you smile and be happy. Perfect. He's a lovety, isn't he? Right here on the Jim Master Show Live. It's all about lovety. I've been meaning to ask, that is the longest earring I've ever seen in my life. Where did you get that?
Isn't that
When you were in
lovely?
Paris?
Yeah, this is a very European style.
It's a very,
It goes all the way down to the floor.
I tell you. And the dog then comes and tugs on it.
Yeah, we're all getting used to now seeing these things in everyone's ears when they're doing interviews.
Yeah, exactly. You like teaching, you like mentoring others as well.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I thought about until somewhat recently, because it terrified me, the thought of doing it. I thought I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't take into account my career. I would know what to do and I would know what to say. I didn't have the confidence to go that route until somebody said, "I need you to do a master class." I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't know what I will say." And the first person got up to sing, and I didn't shut up, and I loved every second of it. I knew exactly what to say. I knew exactly what I wanted them to do, and how to explain it in a way that they knew what to go for, and get them to do it again and try different things. And so I surprised myself, and that was really sort of the first ripping the Band-Aid off and going, "Oh, I can do this." So I have started to do it more, and when the opportunities come up, I no longer shy away from them. I jump in, and because it also, you do sort of start to develop the desire and the feeling of responsibility of sort of giving back what you've been taught, and what better way to do it with somebody who's been doing it for a living and can actually give you real life examples and situations, and don't do what I did because this was what happens, or you do this instead, that responsibility starts to sneak into your life, and you go, oh, okay, I got to start thinking a little bit less about myself and more about how can I give back to what I've learned over the years.
Which is a great thing, right? To have that opportunity to do that because you've learned from others and you just pay it forward.
Yeah, totally.
Who are some of the folks, that you've always admired and you've looked up to in the arts?
Well, and I mean, I'm lucky that I've gotten to work with some of them.
Many of them, yeah.
And I honestly have to say that for the most part, it's people whom I don't necessarily know, or I know of, but haven't followed their careers, and what I to a great extent, but in the working with them, discover what incredible people they are. Those are the things that I leave highly influenced. For example, John Doyle, the director for Passion, I keep bringing it up, but it was a big thing for me. He was one of my favorite directors that I worked with. It was like going to an acting class every single day. And there were certain things that I was just blocking myself and not letting myself get there. And he broke that down and he got me out of that shell. And so, it's the after fact that I go, oh man, that was an exceptional experience. One that I can think of, I got to work with John Lithgow.
Yeah. That's cool.
Candide, that's the name of the Lincoln the show.
See, I knew if we stretched long enough,
if we just went long enough, yeah. Candide, that was at Carnegie Hall. He was in that, and he's everything that you may have heard. He's an exceptional actor. He's one of the few actors who can do like 30 Rock or 30 that sitcom that he did several years ago.
Oh, yes.
So,
yeah.
Third Rock from the Sun.
From the Sun, yes.
Yeah. And then go into a drama.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, yeah. And then play Winston Churchill, and like he can do everything, and he's so universal. He's the kindest man, gives so much time to everybody, answers all these kinds of questions, likes to tell stories. So that was a really cool experience for me, seeing somebody who, if he wanted to, could just sort of like show up, do his work, and leave.
Right.
But he didn't do that.
Some people do, right?
He was so social and
passionate, and
yeah. And even just doing this show, he didn't need to do that show, but he was like, yeah, I had a week off. I thought this sounds like fun. Yeah. So he's a pretty exceptional person. So, that specifically comes to mind.
Do you have a bucket list? Do you have sort of this life journey goal set of things that you would love to be able to tackle within the career?
I don't have specifics. No, I don't.
It's probably better not to, right? Just let it happen.
I think so. I like to let it happen. My bucket goals are to, get another lead, or get a TV show, or get a part in a film. Like, those are bucket list things.
Right.
They're not specifics though. They're things that are like goals. Keep getting better vocally. Keep studying. Those are goals that I have. But I don't have like, I really want to do this show, or I really want to do this show, or, I love the idea of, one of the great things about doing this as a living is it does take you away from your family at times, but I've been very lucky that that's been limited. And, if I went to Paris, or I went to Malaysia to do a show, which I did, I've been in Japan now 3 times doing concerts and the symphony things there. That kind of stuff to me is such a blessing. You get to see the world. I'd love to continue to do more of that, because I think no better way to travel than when it's paid for. You know what I mean? See the world when it's paid for, and you get to work and
then dime.
Have somebody show you around, and then I bring my wife and my daughter with me, to join in on the experience. I think that's pretty cool. My daughter has been to more places around the world at 8 than I ever did at 8, 8 years old. So, those are great opportunities that I hope continue to come up.
Are there places where you would like to go to, perform, visit that you haven't been to yet? Because you've mentioned some fantastic places where you've been
Yeah,
involved in productions, but there must be some that are still on that list for you.
yeah, I would love to. I really would like to go to Australia. I think their TV film scene there is great, but they're also their theater scene is really good there too. I'd love to do that. I've been to China. I've been to London. I'd love to do Scotland and Ireland and that
Yeah,
whole area. It's not far
UK,
from.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just swim across. That's all.
That's right. It's so close. It's so close. On the map, it's just that far.
Somebody has a question here. Jennifer asks, where is your Zen place? Now, we always talk about that because I grew up and I live along the ocean here, a couple blocks from the ocean. So we've always been on the East Coast and always by the ocean. So for me, the ocean is the Zen. Well, nothing tops loving family and friends. That's numero uno. But Zen, as far as being in a physical location, the rhythm and tide of the ocean just makes me Zen. I'm swimming it, surfing it, floating in it, sailing it, boogie boarding in it. You got to drag me out of it. She is in the mountains of Allentown, Pennsylvania. She's a mountain warrior woman, she said. So she always asks some of the guests, what is your Zen place?
I would say it's also, I mean, where I grew up, I was a few hours from Banff and Jasper in the Rocky Mountains. So going there, there's something about that crisp, that cool air and the mountain smell that for me, as soon as I'm there, it's just everything is calm,
Yeah.
I love the beach. I love the ocean. But when I can get into the woods and into the mountains, that's really where that's where I relax the most. And it takes me back to that feeling of when I was a child. So there's that comfort there.
Exactly right.
Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. That is really, really cool. And do you ever get to do that?
I do, not certainly as much as I used to living there, but when I get back to Canada, we every once in a while do a trip out there, and we'll, my sister has her RV and all that sort of stuff, so we load up into that, but it has been a little while, and I'm yearning to get back to it. I love doing it in the winter. The last time I went was the summer, and it was stunning.
Yeah.
And there's, the glacier water, and just, again, the smells of nature, I think, are just, for me, that does it for me. But man, in the winter, and the snow, and that sound of the crunching of the snow as you're walking, and the quietness of the sound of being in the mountains that's sort of my favorite. So it's been a while since I've done that. So that's certainly on my list of to-dos.
Very nice. Very nice. It's a good list of to-dos to have. Merlin says, absolutely beautiful. Jasper and Banff.
Yeah.
And Maureen says, Ryan, has anyone ever told you that you bear a strong resemblance to Eric Bergen? He almost as handsome as you are.
I've not heard that one.
Notice how she said that? He's almost as
handsome. Well, bless
That's
your heart,
Maureen.
I have not heard that, though.
Maureen works in the medical field in Arizona, and she has great bedside manner.
I can see that.
Ryan is the perfect addition to the Lovity Squad. Absolutely, from Karen in Nova Scotia. Juanita in South Africa says, this was a great conversation. Thank you, Ryan, for spending time with us. Love the photos, the stories, the beautiful music. Kathleen in New York City, this is a fun show. Thanks, Ryan, for sharing your amazing voice, talent, and your stories with us. You are a wonderful Lovity. And Karen says, thank you so much for being here tonight, Ryan. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're awesome with such a golden personality. I've been smiling the entire show.
Oh, wonderful.
Isn't that fantastic?
That's a good thing. That is a good thing.
That's what we
that
aim
makes me
for.
Happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mary Bishop in Florida says, this was such a fun show. Thank you, Jim and Ryan. Our pleasure. To Mary in sunny Florida, also in sunny Florida and Jacksonville area. Thank you, Ryan, for a wonderful evening. I have to love your name as my granddaughter's name is Ryan.
Oh, I love that. I grew up
Right.
with a girl in my class named Ryan, and I always thought that was so cool.
Very nice. My friend, this was absolutely fantastic. And we will keep the porch light open for you, and you're welcome back anytime. Let's stay in touch too. Keep me posted on what
Please,
you're doing, and
absolutely.
hopefully we'll be in the city there, and maybe we'll get together and break bread. It'd be cool to meet, and maybe with Melissa and Patrick, what have you, and it'd be really fun to do that.
I would love
And
that.
that would be awesome. And could you believe that I'm looking at the clock here? 2 hours we've chatted. It doesn't feel like it,
Wow,
does it?
not bad, not bad. That flew by.
That's what every guest says, and I'm humbled to hear that, because that we're just shooting the breeze. We just have an international audience watching us and involved, but we're just having a good time shooting the breeze. Sherry Larson, welcome, Sherry. Thank you, gentlemen. You are very welcome,
You're very
Sherry.
welcome, Sherry.
And Merlin says, thank you very much. You
Hey,
are very welcome. And
totally,
Ryan,
eh?
and then Jennifer has another question for you. Now that she knows that you like the mountains, Ryan, you take to the ice. Do you ever roller skate? I've been roller skating since 4 and have my white skates. LOL.
I do. I used to rollerblade a lot, and I definitely every time I get home to Canada, we play hockey.
That's it.
It's really kind of one of the first things we do on the outdoor rinks.
That's it. My friend, thanks for joining us. And there was somebody else that was joining us tonight. He's sort of my sidekick. He's usually here by the side. George Burns was with us this evening. And he says, good show, good show.
He's looking good. He hasn't changed. He hasn't aged a day.
Cigar and everything. He's sort of my Ed McMahon.
I love it.
This was fantastic. And Maureen says here, this has been wonderful. Ryan, love to you and your family. Best wishes for a continued success. May your star continue to shine brightly. And Karen says, Canada. Absolutely.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure, my friend. I'm glad that you were able to join us. And again, you're welcome back anytime. And I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you, Ryan.
I loved every second of it. I really appreciate you having me.
It was my pleasure. You be well, and we'll stay in touch. And best to the family, okay?
Wonderful. Take care, everybody.
And go stretch those legs, like I tell all the guests.
That's right.
Go stretch the legs now. Do some calisthenics or something.
Yeah, right.
Take care. Have a good night, my friend.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Ryan Silverman, brilliant actor, tenor, and so much more. Maybe you've seen him in some of those productions, and now you learned a little bit more about him. Christine Clifton has a very nice comment here. She goes, Ryan, thanks for the fabulous conversation. It's been a joy to learn more about your career and life. Loved hearing your stories and the photos. What a terrific career so far, and there's more levity to come. You got it, gang. And thanks for that comment, Christine. Do you remember Bob and Doug McKenzie, Ryan? Bob and Doug McKenzie?
Yes, of course.
See?
I sure do. SCTV, I think that was.
That's right. That's right. SCTV.
Yeah.
Now Karen can sleep tonight. Thanks, my friend. Have a good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye. See, you got your answer. He waited. He knew. He's intuitive. He knew you were going to come up with a question. And Anne says, good night, Jim. Try to get some sleep. Yes, I need sleep. I haven't slept since Saturday, I think. It's been very, very busy. A lot of busy on the air with the professional work and then doing all of these shows. I want to tell you that we've got some amazing guests coming up this week. I just want to show you some of the cool people who are joining us tomorrow night. Playwright and writer and producer Giles Howe is going to be with us live from Florida. Going to be amazing. On Wednesday, Broadway star Jason Gray is going to be with us on Wednesday. That's going to be terrific. Then, my dear friend, a wonderful composer. He composed music for Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, PBS Kids, on and on and on and on. He worked with Nancy Lamont. David Friedman is joining us on Thursday. Brilliant composer, producer, lyricist. He's also the author of several books, and he has a new one called Help is on the Way. his song was a blockbuster, We Can Be Kind, and his book, We Can Be Kind also. He also teaches the thought exchange. He's a brilliant, brilliant person. He's a dear friend. And again, you probably remember seeing him every third Thursday on the Today Show with Kathy Lee Gifford, because he and Kathy Lee Gifford would put a song together in like 30 days time for somebody that was going through something. And then David would appear on the Today Show the third Thursday with Kathy Lee and Hoda. And then they'd bring in a Broadway star who would perform the actual song that David wrote with Kathy Lee. And I think that was Everybody Has a Story on the Today Show. So you've seen David, I'm sure, on NBC many, many times. We are very close friends, and he's coming on Thursday. This is a breaking news announcement. Very excited about that. He's going to be talking about this new book, Help Is on the Way, and lots more. We're very excited about that. Then on Friday, brilliant music director, musician, and pianist, and writer, and producer, and songwriter, Tracy Stark is going to be with us on Friday. And on Saturday, Ryan Duncan, brilliant actor Ryan Duncan, is going to be with us on Saturday night. And we're very excited about that as well. And believe it or not, while I was sitting here hosting the show, we were getting emails that were coming in. 6 more guests from Hollywood fame have just been booked on our show, all while I was doing this. We do multiple things and wear many hats. There were all these emails coming in, confirming this guest, confirming this guest, confirming this guest. And we've got some amazing people that are coming on the show. So stick with us, gang. The Jim Masters Show live is always here for you, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. If you missed any of our episodes, we had the brilliant Savella, who was with us last night with some great music. You may remember her as Marlene Angelides, wonderful performer. She returned. She now goes by Savella with her new branding and her new image and the new music. And also we had Rosa O'Reilly with us from Ireland, 14-year-old musical phenom, brilliant actress. And she is the cousin of Keith Harkin from Celtic Thunder originally and Rebecca Harkin. And I heard from Rosa's mother today and from Rosa. They absolutely loved being a part of the show. They loved all the levity and they loved all of you who were here with us. And Savella, I heard from her. She said the same thing. Michael Shevik, who was the wonderful author and the rabbi that was on with us as well this weekend. And if you didn't see that episode, we really got into some very deep, poignant conversation. It was really, really amazing. And then, of course, I did an episode singularly, which was called Living in Gratitude. And I was sharing some of my thoughts about how we can all live in gratitude and how it can actually help you through life. You can check that out on our YouTube channel as well. So you can find us 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Only kindness and respect and levity are what this show is all about. Everything else can exit stage left. Plenty of other places for negativity and rudeness. Not here. Another great guest tonight. Thanks, Jim. Good night, everyone, from Juanita. She's going to go to bed too. Mary Bishop says, hoping that you get some sleep tonight. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. We are definitely going to do that. Good night, everyone. Take care. And thanks for spending time with us, Ryan. Yep, I will pass that along to him. And ring, ring, Jim. Your bed is calling. I think it is. The house is shaking. Have a great night, Jim. Sleep well. Good night, all. Thank you very, very much. Dante CD, you're the best. Good night, all. Good night to the one only Mr. Levity, Jim Masters. Now, you know, Dante, you're the one, I give you credit. You're the one that called this Levity Hall. I came up with Levity and then Levity Squad. I think Juanita also said Levity Squad and a couple of other viewers said Levity Squad. And you're the one that said that this is Levity Hall. So see, this is a team effort here. We're all in this together on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good to see you in San Diego. I got to get back to San Diego. I love it there. Jennifer Berry says, you nailed it. Ryan Mountain Zen. Merlin says, sleep well. Thank you, Merlin. I really appreciate that. And Kathy Shaw says, good night, Jim. Sweet dreams. Thank you very much. And Merlin says, what an awesome guest Jim, I knew that you guys would enjoy him and all the guests that we have had. Good night, Jim. Try to get sleep as soon as possible. Wishing sweet dreams for everyone. You too, as well. And thank you very much, Anne in Florida, beautiful Florida. And yes, he's going to come back. Believe it or not, all the guests want to come back. Some of them we've had on again. You know who's going to be coming back? Alison England. Remember Alison England, Allie England? She was, oh boy, we had such a fun show with her. She's a brilliant actress. She is coming back. I was just chatting with her today, and she is coming back on the show. Yes. And you know who else is going to be coming on our show? You know Anita Pointer from the Pointer Sisters? She's coming on the show. Do you know John Davidson, the brilliant actor and singer, talk show host? He used to have the John Davidson Show. He's coming on. And Erin Murphy, who played Tabitha on Bewitched with Elizabeth Montgomery, is going to be coming on our show. Yes. And there's a good chance Marion Ross, who's that? She played Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days. We're working really hard behind the scenes here, gang, to provide levity, humor, good times, and as much as we can muster with the resources we have. And so far, so good. 1 year anniversary. This week is our 1 year anniversary of doing these shows night after night, through thick and thin, through rainstorms and snow and Wi-Fi hiccups and guests who are late and all kinds of crazy stuff, and guest chairs that squeak and all kinds of things. But it's been a blast. We are planning, again, a very special anniversary episode, which we're going to do in May. We didn't want to rush it this week. We just want to celebrate. Let's celebrate together that this is our 1 year anniversary this week. We've officially been doing the Jim Masters Show Live, which when I first started, it was called Jim Masters Live. And then we expanded it to the Jim Masters Show Live. And now it's also JMS Live. So we toast all of you and all of our guests and our viewers. And we will have a cool show coming up in May, which will be more expanded. And the whole show will be celebrating all of you and celebrating our guests, celebrating life, celebrating family and friends, and what we've built here and what we've created here. You guys are really the best. Again, if you want to send in a quick video, you can send it to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. Quick video just telling us why you love the show, and we will air it on our anniversary show coming up. That's right. If you want to put a quick video together, it doesn't have to be fancy. You can do it on your phone, your camera, your laptop, your PC. You can send it to us at jimmasterstv@gmail.com, and we will air it on the show, on our anniversary show. Dante says, I'll drink to that. And Karen says, we toast you, Jim. Right back at you as well. Christine Clifton says, thanks, Jim and Ryan, for a wonderful show. See you all tomorrow. All excellent guests lined up. Jim, good night, Jim, and all the lovities. We all need sleep. Absolutely. And Sherry says, some great guests coming up. Can't wait. Thank you, Sherry. And anybody who hasn't subscribed to our YouTube channel, we would love it if you did. It really helps the show so we can continue to bring you the content you love to see. Whether you watch us live or you watch us, binge watch us later on, you can certainly do that. Juanita's excited. She loved Allison. Allison's coming back. We just chatted today. And actually, it was about 9 more guests. I'm thinking about some bookings that happened earlier. And then during this show, all these dingings were happening, which was confirmations from Hollywood about some guests that are coming in. Very excited. A lot of people want to come on this show. And I think it's the warmth and the fun we have here. Nothing too heavy. Even though we have some really inspiring conversations, we have a good time. Just good times and respect and love. And that's what it's all about. Night, night, Jim and Lovity. See you all tomorrow. Group hug. There we go. There's your group hug for all of you. And check out a couple more here before we wrap up. And thank you, Kathleen. You rock, Jim. So do you, Kathleen. Thanks for your comments during the show, too. I really appreciate that, as well as Juanita and Dante and several of you there. And Karen says, lovity, lovely, lovity, lovity, spread the lovity people. You got it. Yeah, absolutely. And Karen, I don't know if you saw it, but let's see if we can swing this around. Maybe there's a way we can swing it around. Well, just below the Jim Masters name there is the Lovity sign. Sometimes we could see it. I don't know, for some reason the graphic is blocking it, but the Lovity Hall, that sign that you had made by that artist, it's right there, front and center. We thank Ryan Silverman for joining us tonight. He was amazing. Very interesting show in many respects, and a beautiful show in many respects as well. And Ryan was awesome to join us tonight. If you missed anything earlier, he sang live, and we also had videos of him doing Danny Boy and Ave Maria, and he knocked it out of the park. Again, it was cool to have him on the show. We'll have him back. He and I will stay in touch. All the guests and I stay in touch post-show. Some of the guests I know beforehand, and other guests we meet as we do the show, and then we become friends. And you see it. Fabulous. Fabulous. I wanted to make sure you saw that, Karen, right there, front and center. Maureen says, night, Jim and Lovities. See you all tomorrow. Group hug. And Karen says, we're all about Lovity, positivity, respect, and friendship here in Lovity Hall. That's the address. You got it, Karen in Nova Scotia. I know you all had a great time tonight, didn't you? Pretty cool Monday night, right? Because sometimes Monday nights can be a little stale. We always have a good time. We always manage to have a good time. All right, gang, we love you all. We're going to wrap up. Don't forget the usual that we say here. We say, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the Lovity. Find your Zen place. Jennifer Berry loves the mountains, and Ryan loves the mountains as well. I'm here by the ocean. I love the mountains too, but you put me in that ocean and I'm one happy lad. Love the ocean. Jim Masters Show Live. If you missed any episodes, they're all available for you 24/7 on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. And again, we would absolutely love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our live episodes, also our surprise pop-up shows and other cool things that we are doing with the channel. We have some other things that we're doing with the Jim Masters TV channel that are in development. So subscribe to the channel, tell all your friends about our show, tell them about our YouTube channel and Jim Masters Show Live. We would love that. All right, gang, this is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time till next time. Back 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific tomorrow with Giles Howe. It's going to be terrific. He's all excited. We were chatting today in preparation for his episode. He will be with us tomorrow night, and we'll have a great time with all of you here. And if you're not here, catch the reruns, or not reruns, they're archived. Because if there were reruns, we'd be getting residuals. It was the perfect Monday night. I'm still smiling. It was a very beautiful night and very interesting and lively and fantastic. Right back at you, Kathleen, as well. All right, gang, you're the best. We've got a great group here, and it just continues to grow and grow and grow, and we love that. Lots of Lovity coming your way. We shall see you tomorrow, okay? You be well, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show Live with Kathleen's smooches right there, front and center. Gang, we love you all. Take care, and you be well. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us on the Jim Masters Show Live. See you again.